Nobody in there?
I can see it on mine.
What did it say?
Domestic, does it have anything?
It's probably the same thing. I didn't see, but I got it on camera.
He's got his hat covering half of his at least.
What is it?
He's got his hat covering half of it. Hers is wide open, but you got
domestic. We heard the call. That's not a domestic because there's no violence.
Yeah. Well, that's why would they put it over as that?
We heard the call. It wasn't a domestic when she put it over from dispatch. It was the mother's being aggressive, which is an opinion and a subjective matter.
Well, wouldn't that just be couldn't that just be a mothering? You know what I mean? Like, why does it have to be a domestic? What's the address?
No, it's 14 or 24. I thought I heard a 4 in it.
West Park.
It's what number?
It's either 99 or 96.
Oh, okay. So it's
it
up.
It says it. I just can't see it on his. I can see it.
So they parked farther down the road and walked up to surprise him?
Is that what happened?
Probably. Watch your right. I'm guessing it's this house. I think it's this place.
Me too. Where else would it be? You know they don't have the balls to leave a vehicle that far from where they are. What if they need their AR? Or more ammo. Me and Slayer came out here today. We tried to go get the preliminary report. We haven't even posted about it yet, but Willimantic beat up a tranny last Thursday, third Thursday, the community event held in downtown where they shut down Main Street for families and kids. The Willimantic police were roughing up, was it 2 juveniles or just 2 younger people?
2 juveniles, and the third that was assaulted that wasn't arrested and didn't even commit a crime, who was just
there they are.
Responding to how the police were treating the female. Like, hey, you don't have to beat her up like that. I guess she was choked.
And what'd they say? You're not even a speck of dirt to me.
Right.
And choked her.
And threw this kid who fell and actually sustained a pretty substantial injury to his neck. Yep. He has a sprain in, I don't know, was it a vertebrae somewhere in his neck, something like that? His head hit the wall and turned sideways around the wall when he fell and hit the ground.
Yeah. And there's still been no arrest made on that criminal.
They're coming down.
There's still been no arrest made, so we don't know. I don't know. People always talk about these good cops. If we had good cops, they'd be arresting them. Good? Speeding. One of the things that you call a body cam for you. To die? No, dude.
So.
It freezes? Yeah, it's from 98. This is the old school.
So, one question, if I may. We heard this call come over when we were talking, right?
Yep.
And the dispatch said that the neighbor heard the mother kind of getting aggressive with her 15-year-old daughter.
Yep.
Now, that's a very vague description. I'm wondering how that gets turned into domestic between that dispatch and arriving at the scene. Like, why is it reported as a domestic response, even though there's no violence?
Like 10 categories. So
okay.
Domestic could be something so simple as like domestic partners, domestic, like you live together.
Okay.
Like roommates.
It's not necessarily describing or attached to an act of violence or a specific.
No. Usually, like it specifically say like they're supposed to give it to you real time. Like taking a domestic female was struck by the male. Male's running. They're supposed to kind of give you a.
That means it's a spousal thing.
So you could know like how do I respond to this call? Like, am I gonna go code? Am I gonna go lights and sirens, or like am I gonna go with the
silent?
Traffic? Yeah, you know,
most domestics, I would assume, are like you didn't have lights and sirens on because domestics are some of the most dangerous calls police can take, right?
It all depends on the urgency of it, though. Like, kind of like
get there.
If you got to get there as fast as you can, your safety is like second. Like, if it's an active thing where like you're on the other side of town and a woman or man is getting like beat bad, your safety is kind of second, dude. You got to get there because like seconds matter.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I'm not saying go there 100 miles per hour because if you get into a crash, now nobody gets there.
That's what a lot of the gun advocates say. Yeah. Seconds matter.
Yeah.
People like, dude, I see certain stuff like out here where some over here, and they get a call down at what's that? The dollar store by the rec park.
Mm.
And for what would you call it? What was it like what's that contract you get at court where you can't go so close?
Oh, violation of protective order.
So yeah, but there was no protective order even served yet. So there's no, it's not active, right? Like,
yeah, but like, all right, I only know how to put like an example.
But they go from there, and there's no active threat. The chick's not even there. She just wants the kid removed from the park.
Oh, no active threat?
Yeah, like there's no, like she's just calling to complain that he's at the park. And,
there was no actual provocation.
But she hadn't been there yet. There was no argument.
Yeah.
And they do 90, literally from here to there. And I'm like, what the hell, guys? The wrong lane over the frog bridge.
I could only say for me, sometimes like you'll go to a call. You'll go to a call, right? And like as you get it, it changes. Meaning like the more information they get, the more like it'll like so like you'll see us sometimes go down Main Street, right? And people probably think we're trying to get somewhere like to Dunkin' Donuts fast, right?
Yeah.
But we're flying down Main Street,
yeah.
But it's really not. The call will come over, two males fighting in the house, like one's whatever doing it, right? And then 10 seconds later, one of the males just left. So now your sense of urgency drops. So now you're not gonna go code there. But everybody probably thinks like we don't want to wait in traffic or something like that. No, it's like as you're getting updates, you got to determine can I physically.
Were you on the day with the car show a couple weeks ago? I thought, did I see you that day?
Yeah.
Yeah, like three go from the department and fly 100 feet down the road to the car show for a call that's not ends up not even being a call.
Yeah.
And it's like kids, like I'm like, this is the worst time to be flying. Does public safety ever outweigh the need to get to a call?
No,
like
really.
like people
public
on the street. So
like you'd have to like.
The most important thing is the caller.
To go to extremes, like just to put it in extremes, it's the threat to the public by you getting away. So like you're driving down the street with a suspended license.
How dangerous is the individual?
I know you. You don't want to stop. Is it worth the risk of getting into a crash or causing a crash? No, it's a misdemeanor. I know you. Yeah. I'll get up with you one day. Yeah. Now you gotta. I'm just going to extremes. I'll give you an example. Now you got an assault first. Now you got an assault first warrant. You just went back and kicked in the door to the person you had the assault first warrant. And now you're fleeing with an active warrant. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you displayed a handgun.
Yeah, that is different.
If you came back, dude, there's a good chance you're coming back again, right? Yeah. Like that. So, I mean, you always got to proceed with caution, though. You don't have a blanket thing where you be like, this isn't a video game where I get a cloak code, you know, like where I'm like invisible and everybody else is, right?
Restart.
So, you always got to be like.
I know some cops that play games online, they hack. They're cheaters.
This ain't like we're like, this ain't Grand Theft Auto where I can like
gun cheat.
Yeah, so it all depends, man. It all depends. And a lot of it goes into like the history in our CAD. Meaning like, say it's me, right? And you've been dealing with me for 15 years and you know me, and all I do is violate protective orders and assault my girlfriend, and every time you've dealt with me, I'm not going to jail until you finally catch me, right? Like, you're gonna want to get there faster with me than you and your girlfriend had an argument. You have no history in our CAD. I don't. It's a verbal argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not against the law to argue. Yeah. Like, you can't argue. So
they've made it tight though in Connecticut. It's fucking crazy here.
Listen, man, I'm not smart enough to make laws, but like.
What do you think of this? I mean, it might be too soon for the conversation, but I think it's a very valid question. And I know you guys don't necessarily chase people on the highways. You guys are local municipalities, so you don't have, or you could correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have jurisdiction on the highways.
Not unless it's
unless you've chased out of town and there's like a,
or if we get called like for assistance.
Now, would you stop on the highway for a seatbelt infraction where everyone's doing 80 miles plus an hour?
That's their job, though. They have to. Like, because if they don't do that, then think about it. If I go 70 down the highway, I'm a human being, meaning I'm an opportunist, right? Like, sometimes good, sometimes. If I go 70 down the highway and I never get pulled over, now I do 75.
Never get pulled over, right?
Now I do 85. Now I do 90. Before you know it, you got 1,000 of me's doing 100.
Well, that was part of my speculation.
But what if it's not a dangerous crime? Like, it's not affecting...
There's no victim in that. There's no victim in that.
You know what I mean?
And there is a chance that the trooper could have, in fact, been mistaken. We've seen it on people's dash cams before. They're like, you didn't have your seatbelt on. They're like, what are you talking about? I've had it on the whole time.
Than I have?
Like, well, I'm looking for an explanation as to, like, well, maybe not, we can't explain it, but I don't think you would be a guy who would put everyone's life in danger over a seatbelt infraction that may or may not have occurred, and then potentially get yourself killed on an interstate. I mean, God forbid that happened to him, but no one even knows the guy's name who got the ticket.
Yeah, they didn't even.
No one's raised any money for him and his therapy and the trauma he's going to live with for the rest of his life, because maybe he even had his seatbelt on. We don't even know that yet. Yeah. And the cop pulled him over by accident, and now he's all fucked up, and he can't go to work, he can't get out of bed, he thinks everyone hates him, he's getting death threats from the pro police, Blue Line gang members. Like, it's out of control. These people assaulted this guy 17 times in Wethersfield. We got it all on camera. How are you honoring? Yeah, and me too. How are you out there honoring a fallen state police officer by breaking the law and hitting citizens coming out there to support the mayor in his decision for adhering to the town ordinance and the law and saying, I can't fly the flag unless you guys put in the application?
That's all.
And they're like, no, we get to do whatever we want because this cop died. It's insane. It opens up Pandora's box.
If you want to go, if you want to ask about the seatbelt thing, though, you guys change laws, meaning like you, the citizens, right? Like, look at New Hampshire.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work. But our legislator is corrupt as shit.
I mean, they got more pull than me, dude. I'm just a guy.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a guy. If you take me and you.
But it comes down to officer discretion at the end of the day. They have the discretion to go, I'm not going to stop that guy because we're on a bend. There's a blind spot. Joe Johnny Tractor Trailer might come up around here and smash the shit out of my cruiser.
There was no avoiding that. That dude was out too. You know what I mean? That dude passed out.
Dude, that's the most dangerous job.
Why don't officers exercise more like discretion? I think with better community relations, officers would see how unjust some of the laws that you are asked to enforce are, and in your discretion refuse to enforce them.
The problem is you don't see when they enforce discretion. Meaning, like, if I sat here,
I do. It's when it's going against me.
If I watched 8 hours of traffic, you don't see say whatever people I could stop, and I'm like, I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. You know what I mean? Because it's not a thing that's an interaction. So you don't get to see it. You just get to see when they do enforce it. So you don't know if that guy. Like, I'll give you.
Well, we do know there is discretion, and
there's. But I'm saying you don't know how they do on a daily basis.
Oh, I see. Right.
I mean? Like, I'll only give you an example.
There's no way to track.
Like, okay, for the dog, I can only go back to dogs. That's all I really know about. And I know I get annoying. I know I get annoying talking about it.
No, it's not. It's a great thing.
With the canine, there's a thing called a bite ratio, meaning there's a acceptable standard for how many times you utilize your dog and how many times it's utilized for an apprehenssion. You see what I'm saying? Meaning
there's a limit. They're like, hey, you're stressing your dog. It's unhealthy at this point.
Meaning, like, you have to show discretion. Meaning, if you only take the dog out and bite. So if you use the dog 4 times a year and it's 4 bites, 100% of the time you utilize the dog. Yeah, so that's tracked. So your bite ratio needs to be federally.
And why is that? Oh, federally, it's regulated.
There's case law on it. That's something that's acceptable.
I had no idea about that.
Acceptable bite ratio, meaning if you take, and they keep track of all this shit.
But why would that be put in? Why is that regulation there? Is my question.
I have no idea.
For what purpose? Right.
I think it's a way to hold accountability, saying how much are you doing with your dog? Like, meaning, do you use the
Are you being a police officer, or is the dog arresting everyone?
or are you just
kind of like metaphorically?
Are you just only using the dog for apprehensions and apprehensions only? Because apprehensions is like 0.0001% of the things the dog does.
Dogs track.
Dog's a locating tool. Dog does a million different things. So you're not properly using the dog if you're only using it for that one thing. This dog can do a million things. Mainly its nose is like the most.
Yeah.
I don't want to insult your position or make any false accusation here. So it's not about you personally, but there have been canine units around the country that have been exposed directing their dogs to falsely hit on cars. And there was actually a guy who had to resort to moving to Mexico, who was like one of the top law enforcement officials in this entire fucking nation, who after retiring and blowing the whistle on all this shit got ran out by the US government. But he's got some very valuable videos that show how these dogs are trained, how they are directed to give false hits, to give the false pretense of a possible crime or criminal substance being in the vehicle, and the cops fish to, and ultimately if they find nothing, they just create a charge, because like the irate individual is like, you got no right to do this, you guys are fucking pigs. Oh, now it's disorderly conduct, turn around. Oh, now it's resisting arrest. So now it's this, and it was all just it was all created.
The thing is, like,
have you seen that ever in your experience personally?
Not with the dog I run, because so the dog is important to me, meaning if it's if I don't do right by it and I'm a joke and I'm lying,
he's not going to be loyal or take you seriously.
Not even that. The
Well,
dog
it's a reflection.
It's a reflection of me, right? So we're dual certed, meaning we hold 2 national certifications, meaning we train every 2 weeks, at least 8 hours, and then an hour a day. So a lot of the trainings, they're blind, meaning I show up to the junkyard, and my trainer has already put out hides. I don't know. It could be 1, it could be 10. He picks a row of cars, you run your dog down those cars. You don't know if all 10 are blank. You don't know if, so you have to trust your dog, right? So now, if there's an instant where the dog is falsing, the dog is going to be fixed and not go on the road until that dog is following his nose and his nose. If you just went off perception, you'd miss a lot of shit. Oh, yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you trust the dog's nose, just everything's the same thing.
You kind of have to.
You do it the same every time. Meaning every
like a golf swing.
You try to keep it just like this, right? Just give him his fucking command to find his drugs, and you just let him do his thing. You're gonna be more successful because you're trusting your nose. You look into stuff too much. That's when you get the false alerts. That's when you miss shit. The dog's nose is so good. They've been around for thousands of years. People have used it.
It knows what it's smelling.
You see what I'm saying? Like, the dog's nose is better than
they know better than us.
Brain.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't speak. That's how we do it though. Like
you give the dog the room to do what it's going to do.
The dog is.
See, I've seen the videos where the cop he'll hey, right here, and the dog will jump up and go.
No, you want to keep it simple, stupid.
And they go, oh, he hit. So hands behind your back.
Stupid, and you want to keep it the same thing, meaning every time is the same thing. I'm just saying, I'm giving him the command, and I'm letting him search.
I like your connection to the animal and the great significance it has in your overall police work and presentation of you as an officer.
He has his last dogs retired at home, right?
Yeah, they both passed though, dude. It was crazy. They passed within 3 months of each other. It's fucking nuts, man.
Recently?
Broken heart, probably.
No, he does. He loved them.
He's probably a broken heart.
Yeah, one of them couldn't live without the other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For both of them.
It's like where the red fern grows.
Yeah,
you know, if you ever read the book.
For me, it's like, I don't give a fuck if nobody remembers anything. I don't care. I know you're forgotten. This is the blip on the radar of life, right? I want to go on and do different shit from this. Yeah. But the dog.
How long do you anticipate being a cop now?
2 more years.
2 more years. That's it. What do you want to move on to?
I want to do something.
Government accountability. You want to be in a 501c3 nonprofit news organization?
I don't want to deal with the
6 figures a year. We'll give you. You don't have to. You can be a liaison. You can set up my appointments.
I want to be a bartender. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's dangerous, man.
Like,
I bartended. You're gonna see. Oh, hey, that guy's selling coke at the bathroom. He's gonna be cleaning, finding coke in the fucking grout lines. Like, hey, asshole, I'm the bartender.
I want to go somewhere like a place that closes at 9 o'clock at night, so you don't get like the rowdy crowd in. You know, like a 3.
Oh, like a nice upper scale.
Or something like that.
Oh, like Gordon Ramsay's place in the casino or something.
I think they fired. Man, my mouth. I just gotta I can't fake it, man. I can't be like I know I'm on camera, right? And I know you're gonna put it on YouTube. But
maybe I don't put a lot up.
What I'm saying though is
my best work's done in the courtroom. My mind
can't be like, all right, John, you got to talk real proper here, and I get smoked in the comments for it because
I know
I don't
people roast him.
Well, they roast us too.
I know.
I've gotten 4 death threats in 3 years.
My mind moves faster than my mouth sometimes, so I notice this about myself. I don't pause when I'm talking.
How about a podcast?
No, I hate
comedy.
Yo, I got a question.
Do you know how many stories you could share as a police officer? Like bizarre stuff?
No, they don't, dude. There's officers, there's retired.
If you could tell stories that are riddled with humor, like a fucked up story, and then lace it with humor and puns and everything like that, people want to hear that shit.
I just feel like that's when it becomes.
It's a way to explain things and provide transparency in an unorthodox way. Right, you become a character.
No more, and you hold on to it for too long. That's your identity, right? Yeah. Like I'm trying to do right by what I do. I don't hate this job, but at the end of the day, I
got
signed
more
up.
plans.
And dude, I signed up for it. Don't feel bad for me.
Yeah.
Don't say.
You know, I wish you'd tell that to the people waving the flags.
Like I signed on the dotted line. Dude. I signed on the dotted line.
What would you say to the people who literally assaulted and battered him and literally surrounded us, tried to oppress our freedom of expression and right to protest there on a public sidewalk, wouldn't let him move? He had to literally yell, like, leave me alone, let me move.
Yeah.
Like they were hitting him in the face with their flags and flag poles. What would you say to those people? They were out there allegedly doing that in honor of the fallen police officer who died on the highway. What would you say to those people?
I'm not credible to say anything, but listen, I would say this. Do you want to live in a world where you guys don't exist? Like, you want to live in a world where my word means everything? I'm a human being, right? I have flaws. My brain can think, meaning I could make mistakes. Exactly, right? Do you want to live in a world where I'm the final say? Like, I wouldn't want to. Like, if I wasn't doing this job, I wouldn't want to live where what I say goes above everything else. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get, like, listen, there's gonna be no point where, like, me and you guys ever argue. Meaning, like, it's not my personality. Like,
I can tell you can talk, and that's great. We need to have more talk.
So sometimes
I've had plenty. I've got a bunch.
You kind of like, if somebody's like, you get into it with somebody, you can kind of see who they are a little bit. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
that's what's happened. Their true colors came out.
I don't want to live
right.
in a. I wouldn't want to live in a world. I don't. It could be popular, could not be the popular opinion. Some people will probably be mad I'm talking to y'all, but fuck it, I gotta be me.
It's better community relations than a fake TikTok video playing basketball.
You don't want to live in a world where, like, the cops are like, you've seen movies where the cops are like the final say, judge, jury, and you don't want to do, you know what I mean?
Training day.
Like, you should have the right to question everything, man. Question
well,
everything.
that's what we do.
Question everything.
And as a result, since COVID,
why is he doing this? Why is John do this? Why is John do that? Ask the questions.
That's how I met you. Remember?
Let me ask you about your dog. Why is the dog do this?
That's how we met.
Because
your opinion matters to me. Your experiences matter.
If I just say
to us.
Think about it. If you told me, if I asked you a question and you told me because I said so, dude, I'm never gonna talk to you.
Right, that's fucking retarded.
Right? But if you talk to me and explain to me stuff, I'm gonna ask you again and be like, yo, I learned a good amount from that guy and I can talk to him. Let me ask you this, let me bounce this off of you. Because now I might get a better understanding.
Right.
And like, call me crazy, we might figure out like there's a common ground between us.
There is absolutely common ground.
Me being like, because I said so, and you're like, that guy's a dick, and we never talk again. Because if you tell me because I said so, dude, I'm done.
Look at all the cops at the department, dude, that I mean more than him, I think, because I argue with more people, but like, yo, the ones that are fair, even if I don't agree with you, but if you explain it, you know what I mean, and give your side, instead of just being a dick, I got respect for you either way.
Dude, I've always said this, man, and I've said no.
He gives everyone a fair shake.
I was just about to say, I'll die on this hill. They set the tone with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they set the tone.
Right, so, and that's provocative. That's how this guy in Bristol got shot and killed.
So if you
this guy was a completely innocent guy. He was assaulted at the bar. He left. The cops were told no one wants to press any charges. They went after him anyway. Stopped him on the street, towed his brother's car, even though he wasn't DUI. They towed the truck they were in, which belonged to the company. And then they were told to walk home. One of the brothers rode home with the mom, the guy that ultimately got into it with the police because they towed his car. One of the cops pushed him. He was 5'6". He pushes the guy. He falls all the way onto the ground and everything. So they assaulted him. They never even charged him with anything. And then instead of leaving, they kept on hanging out there because 10 minutes past their shift, they get 4 hours of overtime. Like so they stood around and provoked a drunk who knew that was going to talk back for like 20 minutes and got all the shit they needed to hit him with disorderly. Then hit him with a ticket for littering and all this shit, and kept pushing him. So when he got home, he was like, "Fuck these cops."
That shit was real quick though, and like just the same on like.
He was an innocent man.
There should be a world where you guys can say what you want. You think anybody should lose their life for doing their job?
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? So it goes like.
But when you sign up for the military, or you're drafted into Vietnam, or you come from like a military family like mine, and you're out there dutifully serving by contractual agreement to put your life on the line, then. I mean, of course, those cops, what really should have happened, they should have never went to his house.
What did you say? I gotta go.
So, if you want to go to South Wyndham, or if you want to go to a different town, can you just go down there?
It all depends. Like, what am I going there for?
Just,
a call that was dispatch said to disregard.
Yeah. Literally.
No, if it's a call.
They said, "Oh, the gentleman left. The gentleman left. Disregard."
But if you were to go with no warrant, no nothing, can you just go to South Wyndham?
Start knocking on people's doors looking for somebody.
I'll tell you what I found. What I found in the law in Connecticut states if the town cops want to go down there, they either have to have a warrant or it has to be an immediate pursuit.
Yeah. Or you get requested, meaning like there's something going on there and the
cops
the agency can't get there fast enough.
Right, so, none of those things happen.
So like if I'm just going, what am I going there for? Like, am I going to look for somebody with a warrant?
Well, no warrant.
No warrant.
So I'll give you a rundown because I don't care because it's you. But so like the last time Giller arrested me, it was actually right here. Well, it started here. I left the scene. He radioed over. They told him to disregard. I go home.
Well, wait, back up. He solicited a complaint. There was a domestic issue on Pleasant Street. This is what I fought Douglas Glode over, and I won. So there's a domestic on Pleasant Street. He goes and stands on the sidewalk and films from like that White House to here away. He's even further away. And he's just filming, and his girlfriend comes to pick him up. The call was over. The call was over. He was walking back to his car. The person went back into their house pretty much. And then Dan said, "Oh, don't you want to scan this plate too?
Scan her plate.
Scan this plate." he's been harassing his girlfriend, so he made reference to that and then left. 2 minutes later, he goes back up, Giller goes back up to the person that was involved in the domestic and said, was that guy bothering you?
Yeah.
Because they had swore at him for being there. And instead of charging them with breach of peace,
We had a complaint though.
Fabricated.
he solicited a complaint against a First Amendment protected activity. That's against the law. You can't.
It's not. It doesn't. For what I did, what's the complaint for? You can't push.
He solicited it.
What are you going to charge me with if I say scan the
He
plate?
came over the radio. I got it on the scanner. I recorded it.
Yeah,
he
no,
said you can hear it pick up before he unkeys. He says, "Didn't that annoy you? Was that guy bothering you?" And he says, "Well, he was annoying these complainants."
But then he went to my girl's mom's house and ran his mouth about me.
Here's what you got to assume, right? I got to assume, this is what I assume with you guys. It's your bread and butter, right? Like, you know this shit inside out. Like, you wouldn't be...
Well, we had to learn it because we're victims of false arrest.
You wouldn't be so confident in doing this if you didn't know it. Like, this is...
To the T. We read the laws.
Not in a bad way, meaning this is your thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, if you're filming in my window and my MDT's up...
Yeah, you can't really stop that.
No, you know what you're doing. It's not me, right?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
You should go, oh, those fuckers, they might be around that corner today.
I'm wrong.
But I don't want to go, gotcha, fucker.
No, what I'm saying though is...
I get their computers all the time.
What I'm saying though is now I'm going to get in a beef with you saying you can't do that. Well, there's no law saying you can't do that.
Right.
You more than likely know the law inside out and know you can't do that because the confidence you have to do that, you know
that we can.
Yeah. Exactly, right? So like,
if it's visible from public view, we can absolutely film it.
The problem I'm having out here, dude, is they just keep arresting us for nothing speech, dude. Every interfering, breach of peace, all these laws, if you read into them, it's already been settled multiple times in court.
And what the problem is the court is racketeering. Part and parcel with the police unions who keep on feeding it illegitimate victims of false arrest with false charges, all to get equity to the 25-year veteran public defender who's burnt out and is a real fucking dickhead, thinks everyone's an asshole, treats us all the same, and even when you're innocent, he says you got to plead guilty. And the cops know this. They're like, I don't care. Have fun explaining to your boss why his company truck was towed. Have fun in jail this weekend. I don't give a fuck. That's what you get. I'm in charge out here. That's what we see more often than not.
How do you break it, though? How do you break it? How do you break it?
We tried to
do in court, but the Connecticut Superior Court is totally corrupt. So now we have to go play the game, go up to appellate court, and then after we win in appellate court and everything's overturned on the case law that we already presented the itty-bitty Superior Court with already, that they just ignore and dismiss in violation of the law. This is why the judges need to be disqualified and arrested. This is why we need sheriffs. Clerks refuse to take motions. You can file a writ of habeas corpus and they won't even file it.
Sheriffs are elected, right?
Yeah, and they were disbanded in the state in the early 2000s, and now we got foxes running the whole hen house. And these police unions that you're working for, unfortunately, are absolutely corrupt, like La Cosa Nostra. They make the fucking Italian mafia look like shit, or it is the Italian mafia. I mean, this is racketeering 101. The judges in Connecticut and the unions need to be charged under RICO.
Well, like you said, I tried to fix this stuff like you think a normal person would. What do? Oh, let's go talk to the department. Blow, Hussey. They refuse to meet. They refuse to talk about it.
I've been calling Hussey for 3 years. He used to be my hall monitor in my school. He knows me personally, and he hasn't returned my call one time.
I will say one thing. You guys could fix it more than I could. And it sounds crazy.
But we need your support, too. We need to show the people that there are police out here who can understand what our grievances and concerns are and are actively, whilst on duty, working with those things in mind to make a better police force, to make a better relationship.
Go off of action, right? How many times have I ever fucked with you?
You, none. I've never gotten fucked with by you.
If anything, I've a couple times.
No, you've actually saved me. No, you've saved me.
So like,
you've saved me a few times.
You do what you can.
That's good policing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you do what you can. Like, and I'm not doing it because.
Even what he said about discretion, I love that. I love that.
It all comes down to, dude, it's going to be, it comes down to the morals of the person.
He saved me from Lucy or Giller.
It's the morals of the person, right? It's the morals of the person. Like,
now, if you see something nefarious or potentially criminal going on within your own department, we want you to feel like you can be insulated by us, as opposed to going, well, shit, I don't want to lose my job, so I better not say anything. There are whistleblower laws we could turn you on to. I got friends up in the Attorney General's office that I could turn you on to. There's U.S. senatorial candidates I talk to on a regular basis.
I don't know if you can tell from me. I'm not a social person. I probably haven't made a new friend. I like people, but I probably haven't made a new friend since maybe like.
Well, you see a lot of bad people all the time, too.
No, not in a bad way. What I'm saying, though, is like, if something's fucked, I don't need to be insulated. I don't need no protection.
You just come out and say it.
What are you going to, like...
That's why he would make a great journalist, like, an investigative journalist. You could make money.
To a picnic? I hate picnics. I hate socializing. I'm not going to... You're going to beat me up? I've been beat up.
I get about $13,000 per million views right now, and my channel is almost dead.
I need to get... fucking a donut. More money than me.
Well, hey, man, I'll tell you what.
Cops have some of the biggest channels.
I can't, dude. I'm done.
Yeah, some of the ex-cops are our biggest teachers. They taught us a lot.
Cop stuff, guys. I'm done. I'll give you a drink. Come to the bar.
I would love to cook you a steak. You're welcome at my house. All right, man.
I'll go on.
He's cool. I would fucking cook that guy a steak. He gave us like 30 minutes right there.
You gotta play the role with him, though. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Once he says something, he goes, "Now you're being disrespectful."
Yeah.
Now I gotta go.
Well, and, but, yo, if you like, I don't know.